So in verse 3, a fellow says, you know what? I was going out to cut wood, but could rain. I think I'll sit in the house and look at Facebook. Or he decides, you know what, there's some clouds, but I don't care. The woods are just about 100 yards behind the house. I'll get on my mule and drive back there and get in there and start cutting some wood. And if it rains, I can always get home before it gets too bad. And then he gets about halfway in there and there's a big old tree right in his way. I'm going back to the house. You know, God says, I want you to go witness somebody, and you have a flat tire and say, well, I must have missed the will of God. Like everything's supposed to go smooth for you to obey God. Saints, you cannot allow circumstances and obstacles to stop you. That's why you've got to be proactive and you've got to be persistent. Did y'all know that somebody is killed by a drunk driver in this country every 39 minutes? Is that not scary? All right, because of that, I want to tell y'all something. Stay home. Stay home! Did you know you are more likely to drown than you are to die in a plane crash? There's a better chance that you'll drown than there is you dying in a plane crash. I get tickled at people that say, I just am too afraid to get on a plane, and then they'll text at 75 miles an hour. I'd rather trust a pilot in a plane as you're driving. It's the truth. 1 out of every 246 deaths in this country are due to simply falling down. In older Americans, listen, 1 of every 56 deaths is due to falling. Don't stand up. Don't stand up. Don't you stand up. You're liable to die of a fall. That's the way some of you live your life. You are so afraid of the consequences that you do nothing. They're going to reject me. They're going to laugh at me. They're going to mock me. They're going to talk about me. They're going to criticize me. I don't know how they're going to react if I raise my hand in church. You're so afraid of the least little response, you're never going to do anything for God that matters. You're paralyzed by your fears of the unknown and the uncertainties in life. You're like Felix when I have a convenient season. And it's never convenient. Please hear me, church. This is deep. Don't let life keep you from living. Just don't let life keep you from living. So again, we must choose to follow God and trust Him. This world will paralyze us. It'll cause us to live in fear. I deal with this all the time trying to counsel people. But what if this happens? What if that happens? There are uncertainties. And so what you have in verse 4 is the procrastinator. You're a procrastinator? Waiting for the ideal. You're not looking for a reason to do it. You're looking for a reason to not do it. Let's put this off. It's true that some people take foolish risks. But what Solomon is saying is life is a risk, so make some wise decisions. You just have to make some decisions and go forward in a backward world. Some of you young boys and some girls, y'all want to get married? But you're almost too afraid to ever get married. You're looking for some kind of sign. Well, Lord, if she bumps into me during the time of fellowship, and she's in that corner and you're in that corner, Lord, if she just bumps into me. Lord, if she's the one, let her initials spell God. Let me see her face in the clouds, and I'll know she's the one. I'm going to tell y'all something plumb scary, especially from this preacher. You might just have to take her out to eat and see how it goes. What a risk. It might cost you $20 to find out if she's the one. But you're saying, I'd ask her, but I don't know what we'd talk about. Don't worry about it. She'll do all the talking. You'll be wishing you had opened your mouth. You might even have to walk up to her at church. Just, if you can't do anything, just stand there like an idiot. That's doing something. Are y'all getting this? Life involves some risk. It really does. I'm not encouraging you to start getting stupid and foolish. I'm just telling you, too many Americans and too many young people are doing nothing. So given to your fear. And so it takes decision making and determination and diligence. What's the difference between determination and diligence? Diligence is staying the course, not bailing out. Verse 5 and 6, I think, is about diligence. As thou knowest not what is the way of the Spirit, and how the bones do grow in the womb of her that is with child, even so thou knowest not the works of God who maketh all. In the morning sow thy seed, and in the evening withhold not thine hand, for thou knowest not whether shall prosper either this or that, or whether they both shall be alike good. Just do it. Be diligent. Stay by the stuff. There are some things you don't know. There are some things you will not understand. There are some things that will not go as you planned. You just got to stay the course. I was fascinated with a speech I listened to, I think yesterday, might have been Friday, but I believe it was yesterday, by our governor, Governor Lee. It was at a prayer breakfast. I did not know this story about Governor Lee. At one time, he, of course, had a prosperous business in the Nashville-Franklin area. I'm sure well-to-do, large family farm. I read where it was several hundred acres. I forget how many acres it was. And life was good. I think he had 3 or 4 kids. I know he had a 4-year-old, and he had a wife that he loved dearly. And when he was pulling into the driveway one day, his wife was on a horse, riding a horse, maybe with the 4-year-old. I'm not for sure about that part of it. And he said he was thinking as he saw his family how blessed he was. And as I heard and read the story and listened to the speech, if I've got it right, it was just a few hours later, somebody come knocking on the door, and there had been an accident. And his wife had a horse riding accident and died. I'm just curious, how many of you knew that story? I didn't know that. But when I listened to that speech, that man, I don't know much about him, that man said something profound. He said, the most tragic days in my life became the most transformational days of my life. He said also, what happened, and listen, I'm quoting him. He said, what happened to me, I would never want. But what was happening to me, I would never trade. He said, what happened to me, I would never want. But what was happening to me, I would never trade. Uncertainty in life. He had no idea. Solomon is telling us, don't procrastinate, be proactive. Allow your faith to trump your fear. Don't run from uncertainty, but be resolved in uncertainty. Don't look for an excuse to do nothing, look for a reason to do something. Amen. I wonder if Solomon, possibly, when he was doing right, got disgruntled because he didn't get the results he wanted. Now, I'm reading this trying to think back on Solomon's life. I wonder if Solomon, when he was doing right, got frustrated with some hindrances and obstacles and some unexpected. He's thinking, I'm doing right and this is not what I expected. These people won't listen to me. These people won't do what I say. Here's my kingdom and I'm supposed to be in charge. I didn't know I was going to have to deal with this and I didn't know I was going to have to deal with that. I wonder if Solomon, when he was doing right, got bitter with some of his friends because they weren't as supportive, or maybe they forsook him and went after some other king or wanted some other king. Maybe they didn't follow him like he thought they should. And Egypt got to looking somewhat appealing to him. Things didn't go like he thought it was going to go. Those pagan women didn't have so many rules. He later found out that what looked good in Egypt was more problematic than doing right. Y'all hear me? Young people, I wish you'd get a hold of this. Hollywood, the music world, the sports world, they paint a beautiful picture. But it ain't what it looks like. I don't know how many stories I've read like this. I read this one yesterday, an NBA player who earned in his career $34 million. I think I might have to cut a few things out, but I believe I could get by on that. He's now broke. He has 10 children with 8 different women. He said something pretty profound, just like Bill Lee. He said, all the money and things gave me a false sense of power and importance. He said, all the money and things gave me a false sense of power and importance. And that's what this world offers you, is a false sense. Temporary pleasure and popularity, temporary peace, which usually the temporary peace is just a mental distraction from the reality that you're supposed to be involved in. And so Solomon in his old age is looking back and saying to you young people, you're going to have to be a decision maker. You're going to have to be determined. And you're going to have to stay the course and be diligent. Listen, church. Next, he's going to tell you another reason that you better get busy and be proactive. And that's where it starts. I'm going to preach from 7 to 10 next week. I may just preach the rest of the book next week. I don't know. But you know what he's about to say? I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. You can look at verse 7 if you want to. Truly the light is sweet. Verse 8. If you live many years, mark it down, there's some days of darkness coming. Verse 9. Rejoice, O young man. You know what he's saying? Why you ought to go ahead and get right now while you're in your 20s, 30s, and 40s. I hate to say it, but here's what Solomon's saying. You're going to get old and die. You know why you need to be proactive? You're going to get old and die. You're going to blink and be old. You're going to be in your 40s. You say, Brother Ron, that's not old. It is when you're 16. I remember thinking when I was dating Rhonda that my future father-in-law was ancient. He was 42. I thought he was ancient. Young people, listen to me. Start making good decisions before you blink. You're going to be old. It happens. It happens to everybody that does not die young. Isn't that deep? If you don't die young, you're going to get old. How many of you know what I'm talking about? You'd be surprised how long it takes some people to find their car keys. They don't need their keys because they're in the parking lot and can't find their car. Can't find my glasses. Rhonda's got about, she's listening right now, I guarantee you she's listening. She's got about, I'm just guessing, 732 pair of glasses. Can't find one of them. But I go in the bathroom and there's her coffee and her glasses. In the bathroom! You remember that story about hair in the food? How about in the coffee? You're going to get old. Your mind says you can do something. And your body says, don't even think about it. And there's things I'm watching people do now, and I can do that. And every now and then I'll try it. Stupidity. It just happens. You forget things. You repeat yourself. You forget things. It's coming to all of us. Young people, listen to me. God says, Solomon says, the Bible says, rejoice. It's in the book. Rejoice. Enjoy living. But don't waste your youth on yourself.